All right, we talked about the Green Bay, Minnesota game, and I really like all the Justin Jefferson props. I don't care who the quarterback is because there's no Jair Alexander. That's the only way that you shut down Justin Jefferson is with Jair and then some safety help up top. We saw this not a couple weeks ago. We saw this in the first matchup. Preston Smith was trying to cover Justin Jefferson down the field. That's never the recipe for success. But I'm going to go to the other side of the ball, and I'm going to go to Green Bay right now. 22.5 completions for Jordan Love against Minnesota. I'm going to go over. If you look at the first 4 games, 41% of his attempts were 10 or more yards down the field. And now, like, LaFleur's completely changed that offense, so you're not seeing the deep shots. He's kind of taking what's given to him. He's using the underneath stuff. So I think he has at least 24 completions in this game. So I'm going to play that right now, over 22.5 for Jordan Love.
Hurry before it changes.
It's kind of scary betting either prop or anybody's props. Kyren Williams has been on a tear. I think he's going to be like a top 3 fantasy pick. He might be the first back off the board next year.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. Like, who's calling plays for Atlanta? I would love to say Bijan, but is he going to get the ball 12 times a game? I mean, but I've just been kind of surprised at how good the Rams have been offensively. Like, we knew Stafford could still make the throws, and if he's healthy, he's still a top 10 quarterback. I think he's the best quarterback in the NFC when healthy. I think we nominated some of these guys a little bit too early, like Jalen. I like Dak. I mean, Dak's had a ridiculous season, but Stafford is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. But Cooper Kupp was coming back from injury. We didn't know what Puka was going to look like. Kyren Williams, and they're a top 10 offense, and they're trending where if they were healthy all season long, that'd probably be a top 5 offense in this league.
Yes,
that's why Sean McVay came back. They're going to be that team that nobody's going to want to see in the playoffs. They really are. But that's the only thing that scares me a little bit about the props every week is if I play Kyren, Cooper goes off. Or if I play Cooper Kupp, then Kyren and Puka both go off. Or Tutu shows up. So that's the only thing.
That's why I stick with the rushing plus receiving every single week with Kyren Williams, and I'll do it again without a doubt this week.
Rams-Giants. The Rams are 5.5-point favorites. Total's 44.5. I'm falling in love with this Rams team. Love Puka. Love Cooper Kupp. He's starting to look like himself. And then Matthew Stafford. I mean, I think he should be getting some MVP love, man. What do you like in this game? Anything?
Yeah, look, Stafford is absolutely on a heater right now. I mean, this might be one of his best stretches of NFL football. And it follows like a 4 or 5 game stretch where I honestly consider, like, is this guy done with football? Is he just, I mean, because he looks so just for about the entire middle part of the season, but right now he's on an absolute heater, man. I like Kyren Williams. I like Cooper Kupp. I especially like Cooper Kupp. Look, 68.5 is the line right now, and the Giants have given up the most receptions and the second most yards to wide receivers in the slot over the last 2 months. And again, 68.5. Listen, Cooper Kupp wasn't spectacular last week, but over his last 3 games, he's been over 110 receiving yards in 2 of his last 3 games. Against the Giants, real soft matchup. Go ahead and give me Cooper Kupp over 68.5 receiving yards.
Love that. I know this is certainly a matchup-based thing here with Cooper Kupp there now, and rightfully so, against this Giants team. But have you had any concerns this year about Cooper Kupp when it comes to just the inconsistencies? Like when he came back from the injury, right? I mean, you're like, oh, there he is. There's Cooper Kupp. And then he disappeared for like 6 straight weeks. Now we're starting to see that again. You add the wrinkle of Puka Nacua in there as well as another big target for Matt Stafford. Is it maybe more of a matchup-based, case-by-case basis with Cooper Kupp? Or, you know, props are one thing, but also from a fantasy perspective, is he still a must-start every single week?
I think he's a must-start, mostly because you don't know where the targets are going to get distributed, but you know it's going to either go to Puka and Cooper, and a lot of times it's going to go to both, right? So for me, I just feel like in fantasy football, Cooper Kupp an absolute must-start each and every week. Look, there's some health concerns, right? But I don't know if you guys remember, and maybe I'm talking ancient times here, but remember when it was Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp? Kupp wasn't popping off every single week because, again, there's only one football to go around, right? And Robert Woods at that time, before all the injuries and stuff, high-quality player as well. Puka's another level above Robert Woods right now, right? So when you're talking about just, distribution of those targets, Puka's going to get his because he's earned some of those targets because he's getting open. Cooper Kupp, obviously, is going to earn some of those targets as well. And then now they're mixing in the running backs, too. Kyren Williams has been just, again, a phenomenal between the tackles runner for the LA Rams. And obviously, Sean McVay has changed up his entire run scheme to kind of sort of fit his personnel. And that's kind of sort of why we're seeing a little bit of volatility, I think, with Cooper Kupp.
So I I want to talk about this Dolphins-Ravens game from a player prop perspective because the Ravens came in and they punched Brock Purdy and the Niners in the mouth. We now go back to Baltimore. This defense looks legit. What should we do? Jalen Waddle against the Cowboys only had 1 reception for 50 yards. Like, what are the places to attack on both sides for the Ravens and for the Dolphins?
Yeah, I mean, with Jalen Waddle banged up, you kind of got to think that Tyreek Hill, all those Tyreek Hill props are looking pretty good, right? I mean, again, I know that they're big, right? 92.5 right now for Tyreek Hill on the receiving side. And then when you take a look at, total receptions made, actually, I think they took They took Tyreek's number off the board on BetMGM. But Zay Flowers over 4.5, that feels pretty good too right now. The thing with Baltimore that gives me a little bit of pause and a little bit of concern, they've been really inconsistent this year, especially on the offensive side of the football, right? So they're coming off this big, huge, emotional win against San Francisco where they just absolutely stomped them out. Do they do it again? Can they get up again for another huge matchup against Miami? I'm not that sure. Right, so right now I feel a little bit not that confident in Baltimore's offense. But again, give me everything you've got in terms of Raheem Mostert and Tyreek Hill. I think both of those guys are going to come through.
Tomorrow, we talked about this one last week. I bet Kentucky +7. They're now down to 4.5 against Clemson. It's like, what's Clemson playing for in this game? You got a bunch of opt-outs, and all season long, you struggled when you got in the red zone. You struggled to punch it in. You struggled to score. So I actually like Kentucky, but I liked it a lot better at 7. Now at 4.5, I feel like that's kind of a stay away. I'm a little surprised that Memphis is a 10.5-point dog to Iowa State in a game where the total is 57.5. I would probably lean Memphis in that game. I think it's going to be higher scoring. Stayed away from the total. Might end up betting Memphis.
I'm actually going to be on Miami in this one, right? Like Miami, kind of like we talked about Washington in that game against Texas. Miami, because of the one Baltimore win, everybody's ready to write them off. Everybody's ready to be done. Well, guess what they did last week, fellas? They won their first big highlight game over a team that's over 500. Yes, it was against Dallas. Yes, the Cowboys are frauds. We all know that. I'll say it again. Dallas, your team is nowhere near Super Bowl ready. I stand on that.
That's right. That's right.
You're probably right.
I'm very right. This isn't a question. That's a statement. It's not a guess. It's a spoiler. All right. I like Miami. They got their win. McDaniel had them kind of take that step up. I'm going to tell you right now, I hope Miami's a big dog in this game because I am absolutely taking the points. I think it might be an outright win. You need to pop 1 or 2, put all the weight on Lamar, take the running game out of the equation, take Gus out of the equation, and the Dolphins can win that game. I like Miami.